Imagine this. In the dead of night, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps steps forward with a statement that sounds like a straight-up declaration of total war. The most powerful offensive operation in the history of our armed forces will begin within minutes, they say, aiming straight at US bases across the region and at Israel. And the reply comes like a gunshot. Short, sharp, no fluff. Donald Trump's warning. Hit hard today and you'll feel a force the world has never seen. No diplomatic bows, no polite "we are concerned." Just the raw line. We started this, we're not stopping, and we're not backing down. This isn't some random flare-up. It's the explosion that's been building for years. Iran spent years stacking up missiles, dancing on the edge of the nuclear threshold, feeding weapons to proxy armies from Lebanon to Yemen. The 2025 talks went nowhere. Tehran simply refused any real limits. When intelligence showed the ballistic missile program suddenly speeding up, the choice was brutally simple. Wait until a nuclear-tipped rocket is heading for Tel Aviv or an American base, or strike first. Washington and Jerusalem chose the second option. Operation Epic Fury slammed into dozens of targets, nuclear sites in Isfahan, command bunkers in Tehran, the works. The result was so big that even Iranian state media couldn't hide it. Roughly 40 top officials dead, including Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei himself. But the real story isn't the explosions, it's what's happening next. Trump isn't just dropping bombs, he's speaking directly to the Iranian people and to the regime's own security forces. When we're finished, take power into your own hands. This is your chance for generations. At the same time, he's offering full immunity to any IRGC or army officers who lay down their weapons. That's not standard wartime talk. That's a deliberate attempt to split the regime from the inside. Because without Khamenei, the power structure is already cracking. Who becomes the next supreme leader? Larijani? Some general? Or no one at all, and the whole country slides into chaos where yesterday's loyalists start cutting deals just to survive. The IRGC is roaring the loudest, of course. Classic line. We will respond so hard the world will tremble. But here's the catch. In the last 24 hours, they fired hundreds of missiles and drones, yet American bases barely felt it. The Pentagon reports minimal damage. Meanwhile, Iranian ports and oil facilities are burning. An economy already on its knees from sanctions just took another vicious hit. Oil prices have already spiked, and if Trump keeps his promise, bombing will continue non-stop for as long as it takes. The entire Persian Gulf could turn into one giant zone of turbulence. So what does all this actually change? First, a clear message to everyone else. The era when Iran could threaten its neighbors and sponsor terrorism with total impunity is over. Hezbollah, the Houthis, the Shiite militias in Iraq. Suddenly, they've lost their main sponsor. Second, for Israel, this is historic. A country that lived for decades under the Damocles sword of Iranian rockets finally has a real chance to cut the threat off at the root. Third, for the United States, it's a stress test. Trump is doing exactly what he promised voters. No more forever wars, but also zero weakness. Hit fast, hit hard, and hit with a clear purpose. Remove the immediate danger. The risks are massive, obviously. Iran could try to close the Strait of Hormuz, though that would be economic suicide for them too. They could wake up sleeper cells worldwide. They could beg Russia and China for help. But Beijing needs Middle East oil too badly, and Moscow is already stuck in its own war. The scariest scenario is a full-blown civil war inside Iran. Regime remnants on one side, the very people Trump is now telling to seize power on the other. A humanitarian disaster would be unavoidable, yet there's another possible future. After 40 years of theocratic isolation, Iran is a country full of young, educated people who are exhausted by corruption, censorship, and permanent conflict with the world. If the regime doesn't collapse in a bloody mess but simply cracks like a house of cards, a window for real normalization opens for the first time in a generation. Not instant Western democracy, but at least a government that stops pouring the nation's money into missiles and exporting the revolution. In the end, we're standing at a fork in the road. Either this becomes the start of a long, ugly war that drags in half the region and sends energy prices through the roof worldwide, or it becomes the beginning of a genuinely new Middle East, where Iran stops being a permanent source of threat and turns into a normal country focused on its own problems. Trump has bet everything on the second path. It's a bold gamble, but after years when everyone was terrified to even whisper the words red line, someone finally had to draw it. He just did. Now the only thing left is to watch and see if it holds.